ir a España.
Una cucaracha.
Ganoncho.
Ah, j'ai été de test.
沖縄はどこですか？
沖縄どこですか？はい、違いますね。はい、次。
I think that it's important for you to know a language other than your own because it can help you connect with a person on a different level.
Was gefällt dir?
Fußball gefällt mir.
I want them to become world citizens, not just a citizen of their own community.
We all experience the same things. We all have the same basic wants and needs.
Что вы думаете, можно увидеть в
You
Санкт-Петербурге?
get to speak with people that you might not have been able to speak with before, learn a little bit more about their culture. It could change your life, learning more about how somebody else lives their life. So I think it's vital.
I'm Deborah Terry. I teach at Rebecca Johnson School in Springfield, Mass., and I teach French kindergarten through 5th grade.
Grand édifice avec des appartements.
These Level 1 Grade 5 students are working under the theme of the family and the home.
Voilà.
The lesson begins as Ms. Terry guides a small group of students through a family tree project, using authentic materials and making cultural comparisons.
Ta grand-mère.
A few weeks later in class, Ms. Terry calls on the students' prior knowledge of family members to build new learning about various rooms and activities in the home.
Les frères est dans la chambre et couche du bébé.
By the end of this unit, Ms. Terry guides her students into forming more complex language centered around the family and the home.
Le 15 janvier.
My main hope is that they're comfortable speaking the language and that they enjoy it. The goal is to have them be able to talk about things that are personal and meaningful to them because they don't want to talk in isolation. They want to be able to describe what's important to them. I hope that they can discuss their families, that they're able to describe their homes, what they like to do. By 5th grade, they have a pretty good grasp of who the family members are. So I asked them to chart their family tree, understanding the limitations of not having families that aren't traditional sort of families. And then from there, we moved into writing paragraphs about how many people are in their families, how many brothers and sisters they have, and how old they are. And then they brought in photographs.
Maintenant, nous allons faire un autre projet sur la famille. Sur la famille. Vous allez faire un arbre de famille sur ce gros papier bleu. Oui? Vous allez utiliser les magazines, trouver des photos de mère, père, grand-père, bébé. Oui? Et couper les photos avec des ciseaux. Mettez les photos sur le papier avec de la colle.
Doing the family is a really touchy issue. You've got to skirt around a lot of things. So I thought that it would be best if they kind of generated a fantasy family. And so they were able to go through and kind of just invent their own family, including whoever they'd want to include, whether they included grandparents, aunts and uncles, cousins, brothers and sisters.
Vous allez parler français. Donc, pensez à regarde. Oh, regarde. Voilà un père. Tu as un bébé. OK? Bon, commencez, s'il vous plaît. Prenez les magazines et cherchez les photos et parlez français.
Voilà, grand-père. Voilà, un bébé.
What we did was we would skim through the magazine
Grand-mère.
and try to find people, and we would cut them out and post them on, like if we found an elderly person, like a male, we'd put it on for grandfather. If we found a baby, we'd put it under bébé. We had to write what they are, draw lines, and we had pets as well.
The kids enjoy looking at things that actually come from authentic culture, and so I think the magazines are going to, really be something that they remember. It's a way of showing them that things like the family are important, and how they're shown and how they're depicted.
Well, that was probably the first French magazine I seen, and it's pretty cool.
Mike?
How do you spell step? You know how like you'll put grandpa for him, it's like his grandpa, but it's like their mother. I kind of want to put like step grandpa.
C'est bien. Donc, grand-père avec beau. Beau grand-père. Comme il fait beau.
Family trees can be different in many ways. You could have a stepfather, stepbrother, stepsister, or maybe a foster mother.
What I was aiming for today was to get the kids to be able to talk about the family in a non-threatening, non-personalized way. Start to say this is or here is, because even students who, for example, don't have a father in the household are going to need to know the word for father. And this was an easy way to do that.
You want to write it?
Très bien. Quelle famille est-ce? C'est la famille Flaubert, c'est la famille Smith,
Johnson.
Godard. Oh, la famille Johnson. Excellent.
Johnson.
Oui, très bien.
Oui.
Et ça va ici, oui, famille Johnson. Français, famille, et après, le nom. Bon, très bien. Dasline, tu parles espagnol, oui? Oui? Tu as une grand-mère? Oui. Qu'est-ce que tu appelles ta grand-mère?
Abuela.
Abuela, très bien. Abuela. Et Mike, qu'est-ce que tu appelles ta grand-mère?
Grandma.
Grandma, très bien, oui. Et Bethany?
Mémé.
Mémère, très bien. Bon, en français, on dit mémère et on dit?
Pepe.
Pépère, très bien. En français, abuela, c'est mémère. Et abuelo, c'est pépère. Pépère.
It's an easy way to make a home connection, a community connection, so the kids learn that while I call my grandparent this, you might call your grandparent that, and it's still the grandparent.
Maman. Maman, oui. Et ton père?
Papi.
Papi, excellent, oui. Et toi?
Dad.
Ah bon, très bien.
Dad.
Dad, bon, très bien. Et en français, comme en espagnol, papa.
I call my grandmother Abuela because it's like the Spanish way to say it, and she doesn't understand English or French, so I don't call her by mamé, or I use it the Spanish way.
En français, typiquement, c'est Médor. Médor, oui. Et le chat, typiquement, Félix. Félix. Ou Minou. Minou, 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 Minou. Bon, c'est excellent, c'est très bon travail, mais c'est l'heure.
From here, we'll move into the home, and we'll place the family into the different rooms of the home, and we'll learn those words. We'll also talk about the activities that people do in the home and which family members do which things.
Aujourd'hui, nous allons parler de la famille, de la maison et de nos activités dans la maison. Bon, maintenant, nous allons parler de ces 4 familles. Bon, nous allons parler de ces 4 familles. Je vais vous montrer des phrases. Et il faut mettre la bonne phrase avec le bon dessin. Bon, donc, il y a 3 personnes dans la famille. José, il y a 3 personnes dans la famille. Dans quelle famille? Voilà, très bien. Et ça, dans la famille, il y a un frère.
Actually seeing the printed word and matching it with a picture. I find that they enjoy doing that. This is actually the first time they've seen that activity. Also, just to get used to the idea of the structure of sentences, the patterns, saying il y a for there is or there are, and how that showed up in several sentences, and then moving into the idea of these people live somewhere.
Oui, c'est bien, très bien. Bon, ces familles habitent des appartements. Des appartements sont dans des grands édifices qui s'appellent des immeubles. Des immeubles. Grands édifices avec des appartements. Des immeubles. Il y a des immeubles à Paris. Oui? Et quelquefois, les familles habitent les maisons privées, des maisons. Ça, c'est une maison en France.
Incorporating culture to me is very important, and it's very simple to get posters of France, pictures of French things. Many of my students live in apartment buildings, in apartments. So to look at a picture of an immeuble and to think that people, over the Atlantic Ocean also live in an apartment building and in a small space in a big city. And so bring in the cultural aspect as well as bringing in the community aspect. At this point, we might go out and take a look at the neighborhood and see what kind of houses we have, and maybe take the vocabulary out onto the street and say, well, there's an immeuble, there's a maison privée, whatever we looked at today.
Voilà les pièces. Les pièces. Oui, on va parler des 5 pièces. La cuisine. La cuisine. Oui, dans la cuisine, on prépare le dîner, oui. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
De la cuisine.
La cuisine, très bien.
Because my class is a mixed group of new students to our school, as well as students who have been with me in prior years, I have to review the rooms of the house and teach them to the new kids before we can go into what the curriculum calls for in 5th grade, which is activities in the household.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? La salle de séjour.
One of the things I love about teaching in the elementary program is that we don't have a book that binds us to a particular way of teaching, particular visuals. And so this way I'm able to pull from a variety of resources where there is not artwork available to me. I go out on a limb and make my own.
Chambre à coucher. Ce garçon est couché. Il est couché dans la chambre à coucher. Bon, maintenant nous allons jouer à qu'est-ce qui manque. Oui? Vous vous rappelez? 1. Fermez les yeux. 2. Couvrez les yeux. 3. Cachez les têtes. 4. Regardez. Qu'est-ce qui manque? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce qui manque?
La salle de Jovet.